already. Thank you. At least it announces to us when we're being recorded. So we'll call this meeting to order, and of the SWAT meeting for Monday, November 1st. I will note that we are still under the AB 361. We are meeting virtually, and we welcome public comment from any members of the public, and you can raise your hand and we'll give you that opportunity as we come forward. And the rest of the instructions are noted on our agenda. So let's do a roll call. Lisa, are you doing that, or is Darlene?
Darlene will be doing that today.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Darlene. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so for roll call, committee member Soft.
Here.
Supervisor Anderson.
I'm here.
Committee member Worth. Okay, Vice Chair Stepper.
Here.
And Chair Geringer.
Here. And I will note that member
Hudson.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Committee member Hudson.
No, I'm only 15 feet away, Darlene. You want to get smacked, you better not make that mistake.
So sorry, so
and
sorry.
as we all know, we are being recorded, and the, I thought it seemed like she got. I thought it seemed like she got through there very quickly. But what I was going to note is that council member committee member Worth did let me know ahead of time that she was unable to attend because she is not feeling well today, and so she will not be here. And would you, Darlene, would you go through and actually, it looks like could we have other members of the participants introduce themselves, and we can start with Jason. Turned his camera on fastest.
I am Jason Chen, City of Brenda staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie? Where did she go?
Not sure what happened.
Oh, there.
There you go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Stephanie Hu, Director of Projects, CCTA staff.
Welcome, and we'll hear from her in a moment. Robert?
Hi, Robert Sarmiento, Contra Costa County staff.
Thank you. And Siva?
Hi, I'm Siva Natarajan. I'm with City of Brenda. Staff.
Welcome. And Mike?
Hello, everyone. Mike Moran, City of Lafayette staff.
Thank you. And Ricky?
I'm Ricky Wells. I'm with BART.
Thank you. And Brian?
Yeah, good afternoon. Brian Bornstein, City of San Ramon staff.
Great, thank you. And Matt?
Hi, Matt Kelly, Contra Costa Transportation Authority staff.
Welcome. John?
Hi, it's John Huang, CCTA staff.
Welcome. And Ruby?
Hi, this is Ruby Horta with County Connection.
Great, thank you. Thank you all for being here.
Did you introduce Andy too?
Oh, where? I don't see. Okay, Andy, there you are, way up in the top. Welcome, Andy. So sorry.
Thanks, Andy Dillard, Danville staff.
Thank you. And thank you. I know any of the committee members would have jumped in. So thank you, committee member Stepper.
And I'm sorry, Chair Geringer, we also have Lisa Babadia, City of San Ramon, and Darlene Amaral, City of San Ramon SWAT TDM staff.
All right.
Thank you. Next time I'm going to have you introduce everyone, Darlene. I'll have you call on everyone in that way. But anyway, thank you all very much. And we were just doing that to make Dave feel better that he wasn't the only one being left out. So we'll move on to agenda item number 2, which is public comment. And this is an opportunity for members of the public to address the SWAT committee and speak to us about any items that are not on the agenda but are within our purview. And do we receive any written public comment?
No, we have not.
Thank you. And do you see any hands raised for any members of the public?
No, I do not.
We certainly don't want to miss them. So thank you. We will close public comment and we'll move on to agenda item number 3, which is board member comments. Do we have any board members, SWAT board members who would like to share any information? I was going to say exciting information, but any information. Committee member Stepper, did you? No, okay. Committee member Hudson, I see your hand.
Just out of curiosity, is there anyone else besides me going to CTA tomorrow in Sacramento for transportation?
I don't see any raised hands.
Shame, shame, shame.
Shame, shame. I'm doing.
Or APTA on next week. Guys, we got to get into the traveling thing here. There's stuff going on. Anyway.
Yeah, I am aware of the things, but I'm not going yet. Anyone else? Then. Supervisor, Committee member Anderson, did you have your hand up or?
I did not have my hand up.
Oh, okay.
If I did, I just thinking loudly, just with gestures. So no hands up for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board member comments or questions? Okay, seeing no hands and no raised or real or virtual, we'll move on to administrative items. Lisa or Darlene?
No, Madam Chair, there are no items to our knowledge.
Okay, thank you. Moving now to the consent calendar. Do any members want to remove the minutes from our last SWAT meeting on August 2nd? Or have any
approval of the minutes.
Okay.
Second, Hudson.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to speak to the consent calendar? And again, seeing no hands raised, will we please conduct a roll call vote? Thanks, Darlene.
Yes. Committee member Hudson.
Yes.
Supervisor Anderson.
Yes.
Committee member Soft.
Yes.
Vice Chair Stepper.
Yes.
And Chair Geringer.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And moving on to agenda item number 6 with our regular agenda items, we're going to receive a status update on the CCTA Innovate 680 program and projects. And Stephanie, who will be leading this. Lisa or Darlene, were you doing an introduction or did I just do it?
Madam Chair, yes, you just did it.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you, everyone. I have already transferred the screen to the slides. Hopefully you can see it. I see nods, great. Yeah, so Lisa invited me today to just provide a quick update on the Innovate 680 program. I'm hearing the last that we've done that was a few months ago, so it's been overdue. I know there are some that have already heard this before, so I apologize for the repeat information, and especially Chair Geringer being on our board and other members here that are on a PAC. But I think this is hopefully a timely update for all of us. So I'll continue with the slides. So to recap, the program is a performance-based program with a comprehensive, a quarter-wide approach. The goals include improving safety, efficiency, reliability of Interstate 680 while preparing the corridor for the future, as well as providing accessible, personalized mobility options to encourage mode shift and improve air quality along the corridor. These are the initial 6 projects in the program that are underway, and they are in different stages of project development. So so the bulk of it today was to provide an update on each of the projects. And instead of this big old list of text, I actually included some slides here with some pictures. So these are different. The coming slides are different than your packet. I'm happy to provide them to Lisa after the presentation. So the first project is the Northbound Express Lane project, completion project, which is proposes to complete the express lane gap on 680 northbound between Navarna and the Benicia Martinez Bridge. Currently on northbound 680, the existing express lane shown in the light blue on the map ends at Navarna. The project will address this gap, but also include operational improvements at hotspot locations like Lawrence and Treat Boulevard. The project is currently in PAED, and currently the team is working on coming up with VMT mitigation strategies to comply with SB 743. And we're also looking at traffic operational analysis. The second project is the part-time transit lane, which will enable buses to travel on the shoulder of 680 to bypass heavy congestion. We're looking at the section between Bollinger Canyon Road and Ignacio Valley Road. CCTA is working on legislation for statewide implementation, as well as following closely on the guidance development that Caltrans is doing for part-time transit lane. The project was suspended last year due to some concern about Measure J revenue due to COVID, and because this project is solely funded by Measure J so far. And so with that kind of behind us, we're starting to look at restarting the project, and we're discussing with Caltrans to begin the project initiation document phase. And in the future, we will also like to use Momentum Station to test out the technology and also to provide or conduct training for the transit operators. The next project is Share Mobility Hubs, and these are to implement these mobility hubs at strategic places like park and ride lots and transit centers to provide commuters with access to multimodal and first mile, last mile options. The picture on the right there is a mock-up of a Share Mobility Hub at Bollinger Canyon Road Park and Ride. The project is currently in the feasibility study phase, and the team has completed also a mobility hub toolkit, which is essentially like a catalog of all the amenities and features that a mobility hub can have, and it will be useful for one who's designing one. The team presented the toolkit and reviewed the typologies of hubs to the TAC last month, and the hub types that we've narrowed down to is the Regional Transfer Hub, 680 Access Hub, and the Community Hub. And the hub location that we're showing on this map is selected for our study to represent a range of hub types and not so much a final selected list of hubs for the program, which is important to note. These are not an exhaustive list of hubs that we're looking at, but we're hoping the study of each hub type will enable us to create like a template for each type to be used at different locations later on after the feasibility study is complete. And related to mobility hubs, the Livermore-Amador Valley Transit Authority, or LAFTA, completed an express bus study on 680 earlier in the year. And as a result of the study, the County Connection Agency and the LAFTA are partnering to develop a one-seat express bus ride between Martinez Amtrak Station and the Dublin Pleasanton BART Station, extending to the A's Pleasanton Station during peak periods. And the bus service will be operated by hydrogen buses. The study showed that the Share Mobility Hubs at Bollinger Canyon Road, Park and Ride, Walnut Creek BART Station, and the Martinez Amtrak Station would be helpful to have to support the one-seat ride express bus service. So our feasibility studies for Share Mobility Hubs will include these 3 locations. And at the moment, CCTA, LAFTA, County Connections are partnering to submit a Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program, or TIRCP, application to implement this one-seat express bus ride for the next funding cycle. Next project is the Automated Driving System, or ADS project, which is a 4-year pilot program with 3 demonstration projects. The first one being the Rossmore Senior Community in Walnut Creek, where autonomous vehicles or shuttles can provide seniors access to facilities inside the senior community. The second project is the County Hospital at Martinez, and this demo project will provide an on-demand door-to-door autonomous shuttle service to take people to their medical appointments at the hospital. And the third project is the Personal Mobility on 680. The project will prepare the corridor for the future of connected autonomous vehicle with installation of new and upgraded vehicle-to infrastructure and vehicle-to-vehicle technologies. And the data gathered from these demo projects will help to develop safety performance measures for planning and implementation of future SAV projects. The team is currently working on project concept of operations, which includes collaborating with the vendors on user cases. Our fifth project is the MOTMOS project, which is providing or developing an enhanced mobile app to help commuters make informed decisions about mode choice, travel time, and cost of trip. The authority received an $8 million grant from FHWA for the project, and the team has been developing components of the app, including user interface designs and working with vendors on the car share, micromobility, and the rewards incentive programs. And the beta testing is currently scheduled for summer of 2022. And then lastly, the Advanced Technology Program or project currently consists of the Smart Coordinated Adaptive Ramp Metering or CARM. Caltrans currently actually has a shop project to install traditional ramp metering on 680 in Contra Costa County, instead of the traditional ramp metering that acts independently at each ramp. CCTA would like to implement the SMART system or the CARM system. And so CCTA has been working with Caltrans to integrate our CARM project into their shop project that's installing the traditional ramp metering. The team is completing the project initiation document in collaboration with Caltrans, and we've been undergoing a very tight schedule in order to meet the STIP funding deadline that's today in order to program $25 million in 2022 STIP for the design and construction phase of the CARM project. And once that's done, the team will start to strategize on how to begin the environmental clearance phase. And then the program has been working on a program concept of operations for the last year and a half in collaboration of local jurisdiction along 680, transit operators, MTC, and Caltrans through the Innophase 680 TAC. The CONOP documents the proposed system concept from the viewpoint of stakeholders in a non-technical way. It describes, but it doesn't define the system characteristics of a proposed system. So the program CONOP shows how the 6 projects will work together and how they will be built for the existing condition. And it includes proposed operational concept to integrate the full suite of transportation solutions within the program. So we've been working on this about 18 months and engaging with the TAC and also the Policy Advisory Committee over the last year and a half. And the draft was actually completed in April. We have received the last set of comments in October, and the team is finalizing the document. And this document is meant to be a living document that could change as we move forward with the program. In instance, if we add a project and things changed, it is a document that's meant to be updated as needed. And as the team is finalizing on the CONOPS, we're starting on the development of an implementation plan, building upon the work that we've done on the CONOPS. It will be developed again with collaboration with the TAC and the PAC, and we will continue to tackle the policy and technical issues that we have identified. And for the CONOPS development, we have begun to dive into these 4 key major policy assumptions as we were developing the TAC, and these will continue to be discussed through the implementation plan. For one, we need to have one centralized decision support system to make the decision and to coordinate between different systems within the program. We have assumed a one countywide data center or connected data center to inform the decision support system. The data center will need real-time data from the other regional entities. Delegated and automated control. Stakeholders will need to relinquish some control, mainly on the routes of significance to the system operator for the system to run effectively. Stakeholders will also need to reach an agreement on system automation to support real-time operations. And then we will need a physical operations center with staff to support real-time operational needs. And these key policies have been discussed at the PAC and the TAC as well. And we will continue to dive into this even further as we move into 2022 as we develop the implementation plan. And this is a schedule of the CONOPS and the implementation plan coming up. As discussed, we are wrapping up the CONOPS document and we're beginning to develop the implementation plan. We kicked off that effort in October in the TAC meeting we just had, and we'll continue to engage the TAC and the PAC on that effort. You note here that there are some board briefings, so we've been presenting to the board, and in addition to the PAC meeting, we have these board briefings that we've been providing an update to the board members about Innophase 680, so that will end in November as being our last one. And then Tim is scheduling board members individually with the board members in the coming months. And with that, that concludes, I think, that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to take any questions or comments. And I'll stop sharing so we can see the grid.
Great, thank you. And I see committee member or board member Hudson.
Yes, Stephanie, going back to the mobility hub, I believe you said that was Bollinger. Sure looks like Bollinger, if it isn't. Is the plan, is this a template where we will be adding, it looked like a bike share lane in there. Is that correct?
Yeah, the mock-up we saw, yes, it was Bollinger for San Ramon. We have one on Bollinger Canyon Road and the transit center.
Yeah, but is there going to be in the development of mobility hubs, bike paths? And the next question would be bike sharing stops. We're talking about.
Yeah,
go ahead.
For the Bollinger Canyon Road mock-up, yeah, we did put in a bike path, sort of adjacent. I mean, it's conceptual. We did put a bike path kind of on the outside, the corridor, and then it connects to the Bollinger Canyon Road. We did show that. And then for the transit center one, it's right alongside the Einhorn Trail. So it'd be right there.
Oh, I know that one. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from board members?
I will just say, if that's okay, Teresa,
please.
Sitting on the PAC, it's been a really informative process, some very fun, innovative ideas that we're giving you a lot of feedback, particularly things like, how are you going to really affect our city, county streets? If with the metering lights, and even if they're super, super smart metering, how is that really going to work? But for one, I'm very excited about it because, 680 continues to be a real nightmare going northbound in the afternoon and southbound in the morning. And we're really back so close to where we were pre-pandemic. And unless we're, ready to start bringing cars, using the opposite lanes of traffic and, convert something like that, we've got to come up with some solutions that are going to really make a difference. So that's where I am. But so thank you for the presentation. We're moving forward. I appreciate it.
And I agree with all of those comments and have been excited to, hear the presentations and to see the work and follow it as it moves forward. Are there any other questions or comments from board members? Do we receive any written public comment on this item?
No.
No, we have not.
Thank you. And are there any members of the public who would like to speak to this item? If so, raise your hand. And I don't see any hands raised. Okay, well, Stephanie, thank you very much. And I look forward to, we've been calling this our mini series of, the Innovate 680 at the Authority Board meetings and our latest edition. And thank you so much for bringing it here and to all the groups that you're taking it out to and all the work that you're doing. And the other members of CCTA who are here as well. Thank you. And we will move on to another member of CCTA for an update, our Contra Costa Transportation Authority Action Plan update. And we welcome Matt Kelly, Senior Transportation Planner at CCTA. And the CCTA folks are experts at getting their shared screen up and running. And yes, we can see it, Matt. I don't see Matt.
Thank you, Chair Geringer.
There we go.
Yes, we get plenty of practice on turning these things on and off, but we still allow for the errors that may happen. It is Zoom for all.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes. So thanks for having me back. I'm here to give you a brief update on the kind of scope development we're doing for the action plans and the countywide transportation plan. The process is all really kicking off. It's now November, so this month. So you are a unique participant in the action plan process in that you kind of oversee two action plans, one in the La Marinda sub area and one in the Tri-Valley sub area, along with our Alameda County counterparts down there. So while SWAT doesn't develop an action plan, it does kind of bless those two action plans and sends them on to CCTA for inclusion in the countywide transportation plan. And then after that process is complete, it comes back to SWAT for final adoption. Actually, you've done your work. It goes back to the sub areas for final adoption. But before I get too far, I'll just give you kind of an overview of the plans, the action plans and the CTP is where we are envisioning it today. We are entering what is going to be an almost 3-year cycle that will result in the update of the 5 action plans, including the 2 in this part of the county, as well as the countywide transportation plan. There aren't too many new folks on this committee, but or new since 2017 anyway, but that was the last time we updated the action plans and adopted the countywide plan. So this new set of plans will look out to the year 2050. Our previous plans look out to year 2040. It'll be consistent with the region's RTP that was just adopted a couple of nights ago. The plan will include both financially unconstrained as well as a constrained funding plan, and it will set the basis for potential future funding mechanisms, whatever they may be in future years to come. And so that's why we have a constrained and unconstrained in case we stumble upon a future source of income, whether that be a sales tax measure or something else. We have a plan for that funding. And so the action plans are really the building blocks of the CTP. So the work on the CTP starts, like I said, this month, and it's done at the sub area or RTPC level. So we wanted to start there and build up. We want bold visions for this round of the action plan, and that's not coming from me. That's coming from Tim Hale, our executive director. He doesn't want this to be the same old action plans. He wants them to be new, to be looking at bold inclusive visions for the communities, for the sub areas, and something that can be stitched together to form a cohesive countywide plan. So the action plans, as well as the CTP, will focus on VMT reduction, all modes of transportation, equity, and safety. You've been hearing about our Vision Zero plan for the county, so that will be incorporated. Let's see if I can move. Okay, so for the actual action plan updates, the goals this time around, like I said, we're coming to both LPMC and TVTC this month to talk to your tax. We're going to open up the existing action plans, which it says 2014 here. That's when they began. We began the update, but they were adopted in 2017. So really, they're as old as 2014. So we will be looking into those action plans, the goals, the visions, the projects that are in those, and the actual routes, and decide if they make sense or not. Hold on to those routes from last time or propose new ones. We will be expanding the MTSOs and getting rid of that name. We'll be replacing the name with regional transportation objectives. And those will include objectives for not just the roadways, which focused on vehicle service. That's why we took the word service out. And adding transit facilities. So in addition to having the freeways and the major arterials, we'll have routes like BART, or say the 95 or 96X bus lines that run down 680. You'll have the bike and pedestrian network, so major facilities like Iron Horse Trail, which TVTC already includes in their action plan. And I should mention that LPMC includes BART running through that part of the county in their action plan. We will be looking at non-modal topics like climate change, greenhouse gases, VMT, safety, back to that Vision Zero and what's going on with collisions. And then equity, how are these plans impacting those kind of already impacted or maybe somewhat neglected parts of Contra Costa County. And then we'll be applying a kind of a consistent structure and these topics across all of the action plans. So we'll be looking at corridors, just like you heard Stephanie talking about Innovate 680. That's our model for how to plan for the future in Contra Costa. We've got these kind of 4 or 5 big corridors, 80, 680, 424, and then you can look at smaller corridors like 580 or San Pablo Avenue, things like that. And really look at plan for corridor at the corridor level. So looking at all modes within a corridor and seeing how they interact and what can be done to improve those modes. And maybe, you know, in the action plans, you can really focus on those local sorts of goals and improvements that can be made to kind of impact the more regional system, or to get your folks to the more regional system. And then we want coordination across RTPC lines. So if, for instance, the current action plan in Tri-Valley has Iron Horse Trail. It currently doesn't in Central County in Transpac. Well, traveling public doesn't care when they go from, you know, Alamo to South Walnut Creek. They want, you know, good coordination on the Iron Horse Trail as well as 680 and all the other routes. So when there is a route of regional significance that crosses an RTPC, we will be doing cross, you know, inter RTPC coordination to make sure we have consistent goals across RTPC lines. And then what we looked at over the last month or two is the actual scope of the action plans, and does it make sense for your RTPCs? So we worked through your RTPC managers, which are Brett over in La Miranda and Lisa in Tri-Valley, and made sure the scopes made sense. We talked to the TAC, and we added some meetings for Tri-Valley just to really bring them into the process, since they're kind of outliers in anything to do with Measure J or the growth management program, because only 2 of the 5 jurisdictions are in Contra Costa. We've got 3 jurisdictions plus Alameda County down there that don't really, you know, have as much skin in the game, even though as part of the Tri-Valley Transportation Council, they do, but they don't have the background that the Contra Costa folks have with the GMP and everything to do with Measure J. So we added some extra meetings there to bring them up to speed. And we're planning for some kind of cushion when it comes to the La Miranda action plan, because we know we'll see a little more involvement from the public over there. And, you know, I won't go into a lot of detail, but we did see public involvement in when we did an amendment to the La Miranda action plan. So it's a little more on the public radar. So we're going to plan for that and make sure we've allotted enough time to incorporate that public comment that we may get. Because really the public is their involvement in these action plans is through the RTPCs. Eventually through the countywide plan, it you know, goes out to a more public level, but now for now it is through the RTPCs, so they may see more public involvement. But that's really what we have planned. The action plans will go through June, maybe through the summer of next year. They'll primarily be worked on by your tax, but will come to the board for about 3 rounds of review prior to SWAT's blessing of the action plans. And then the countywide plan development will start ahead of June, next June, probably early next year. And then we'll kind of take over after the action plans are complete. And we should, after a year of that, have a countywide plan that's ready to go. So that's my report today, and I can take any questions or comments.
Thank you. Any board members have question? Board member Stepper.
Just a minor one, Matt, on the language on the RTOs, I guess it was regional transportation objectives, and you put climate change, but I thought that the objective was to mitigate environmental impacts.
Let's see. So one of the goals of the action plan is to establish a objectives for each action plan that relate to climate change. So, one of the goals, the primary goals of the CTP will be VMT reduction. So the action plans will be looking at climate change through the lens of VMT, but it could also look at it through greenhouse gases. It could also be looking at
those words in there make sense to me. Climate change is a noun to me, does not belong in the list because it's a noun and because it's not what we're changing. It's all the things we can do as transportation and need to identify, and especially as we go forward and talk to our public, that they understand the very specific things that we're going to change. I mean, it was years ago when we started talking about the schools and the impact of all the road exhaust that goes by those schools. So it's those kind of things is what you're describing to me. When you put that word there, it's a lightning rod.
I get that. That's important. Yeah, we need to make sure these are metrics, VMT, other greenhouse gases that we measure so we can monitor the performance. But yeah, we're not. The goal isn't particularly to change climate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Just appreciate the presentations always on PowerPoint. Really helps, and I know we're getting another one from today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? Board member Sauce?
Thank you. Matt, thanks so much. You said that you're building some cushion into the La Miranda Action Plan because of heightened public engagement. And can you expand on that just a little bit?
Yeah, we think, maybe we will need to plan for a special meeting or two just in case either there's, issues that come up that we weren't expecting or issues that come up that need an extra round of conversation, a presentation from the consultant, something like that. But we just want to make sure, we had the June 22 as the goal, but we're kind of flexible through the summer just in case we do have to plan for extra meetings. But we also think we can plan special meetings, that fall. So there may be more than one TAC meeting within a month. So we would plan that, with the TAC members. And we've done that in the past. So we just wanted to make sure the consultants were prepared and that, for the resources and for the schedule in case anything came up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Not seeing any hands raised. Have we received any public comment on this item?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And are there any members of the public who would like to speak to this item? Raise your hand, and I'm not seeing any hands raised. So I will also thank you, Matt, for the presentation and for all the work to get us to this point and all the work that you and almost everybody else on this call will be doing as we move forward with the development of the plans. And so thank you all in advance. And I know we'll be hearing updates back from you as we go forward, but thanks. Moving on to agenda item number 7, which is written communications. We have a number of written communications in our packet that if anyone has any questions of staff about those, we can raise them now. If not, we will accept them and we'll all have enjoyed reading them and getting the updates. Our next item is agenda item number 8, discussion of our next agenda. And Lisa, will you be handling that, or Darlene?
I've got it. Thanks,
Okay.
Madam Chair. Good afternoon, committee members. So preliminary agenda items for the December SWAT meeting include appointments, TAC appointments to the countywide bike and ped, the countywide transportation bike and ped plan. The terms of existing SWAT members expire at the end of December, so we need to appoint new TAC members to that committee. We will also receive an update and a preview of the new SWAT website Darlene and the rest of the SWAT TAC members have been working with the consultant on the updates to the SWAT website. So we'll be ready to preview the website to all of you at the December meeting. We may have an update on the action plan process. We'll keep in touch with Matt Kelly at the Transportation Authority. I know that at TVTC, we are getting an update on the TVTC action plan to the Technical Advisory Committee members this week. So we may have some items to report from the TVTC side of it. And I'll leave it up to La Miranda to report any updates from LPMC. And then finally, we may have the fiscal year 2021 TDM annual report. I know Darlene's been working on trying to get that up to date and finalized by the end of this year. And so if it's ready, we will present that update to you in December. That's it for the moment. If there's anything else that does come up, we will certainly add that to the agenda, but we will have a meeting in December.
On December 6th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so any questions about the agenda from board members? Any suggestions? It looks like a lot of information. And so unless there are any other comments or questions, we will adjourn our meeting today to Monday, December 6th at 3 p.m. and it will be a Zoom meeting. Hopefully I will see either in person or virtually some of you before then, but in the meantime, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.